Hello. We're back again. Let's see if we continue to have this. Yeah, it's still. Why is it doing that? It's kind of annoying. Still doing it. Turn off a light. Let's see if this helps. Give it another second or two, see if it affects. Yeah. I might need to. You're not seeing it? Okay. Well, if you're not seeing it, then let's keep going. I just noticed it just then. But if it's just me, hey, I can handle it. I'm a mature adult. It's just me. It's not you. The bit mapping too on the beard is, but it's kind of cool, but it's a little unprofessional. But who said we're professional? So, still gotta figure out this camera. Okay, let's go. Okay, let's do. Let's sketch. Crispy, you have a character you would like to see me sketch today, since you're so helpful with the tech aspects. Any of the new Superman cast. Okay. New Superman cast. All right. Gotta make it difficult for me. Only because I haven't drawn those characters in quite a while. But, let's go for it. New Superman. Do you have a new Superman? Is the Wonder Woman of the Justice League of China? I am looking on computer here. Let's see. Wonder Woman of China. She has those buns similar to Chun-Li. So I mentioned earlier when I was drawing Chun-Li that design of a female Asian character tends to be used a lot with the two buns, the Princess Leia buns. And I feel like sometimes overly used, because in actual Chinese fashion, I don't really know how often it's something that's. But irregardless, there are buns, but it's just I don't know. I'm looking up images of Wonder Woman of China. There we go. I've drawn her several times. Let me see if there's another version. All right. She has like a cobra on her headpiece, I think. I guess in OBS I can also open up a image browser. Browser source. Oops. Oh, look at that. All right. Let's do Google. I'm typing on here, but all right. Well, I think I'll do the most updated version, where they have like the gold piping, matching gold piping on all the uniforms. Or maybe I should do a new version. Let's do a new version. Just make up something similar. By the way, during my Teen Titans run, we snuck in a reference to Keenan. Roundhouse goes home, takes Kid Flash with him, meets his mom. Mom prepares a massive meal for the two of them to eat. During the meal, Mother is disapproving of his activities, thinks that he could be more of a hero like Kenan Kong from Justice League of China or New Superman. So, alright, let's do this. So maybe, actually I do have a Wonder Woman sketch I gotta jump to. Here I am generally starting off. With this over the shoulder pose again. Let's see if I can vary it up this time. Then after this, get back to some real work. Just trying to warm up. A couple of other artists that I know, they do warm-up sketches as well. Try not to do too much because I feel like the amount of time that I'm spending on a warm-up sketch, I could be sketching or drawing for real. So, but it does have its benefits. I mean, a warm-up sketch, really, if you're thinking about it, I should really just be drawing like shapes, right? I mean, when you warm up in basketball, you do layups, get a couple jump shots in, but you don't play a game, right? You don't play 3-on-3 just to warm up. You get some layups, get some shots, dribbling, stretching. So, should just be drawing shapes. Right, like cubes, cylindrical shapes, all that stuff get me in the right frame of mind. Because then if you're finishing a drawing, well, could have spent that time drawing something real for work. But anyways, not really debating, just blabbering. What were her powers? Do you remember, Crispy? Wonder Woman of China? She was not from the Amazon, right? I don't think so. And let me make her eyes a little bit different today. Usually I'll draw eyes, Asian characters, similar to mine. However, you can go this way, but there's also some that are like this. And I think that's the hence the snake on her headband. How old is Wonder Woman of China? I don't think she's a teenager, right? I mean, I haven't. George, how you doing? Good to see you today. Caught a little bit of your stream yesterday. Saw that you were drawing, what was that character that was kind of squatting, jumping? I just saw you uploaded it on Instagram today. Or was it late yesterday? It was 80s. Sometimes I tend to focus when I'm drawing too much on the eyes. So you think she's a teenager? I know the Flash is like more of a teenager or college age. So today's sketch is Wonder Woman of China, courtesy of Crispy Egg Roll. If you guys, sometimes I have an idea of what I want to draw. Yesterday was like Shazam. Right, Silverhawks. That was another cartoon. I never really watched Silverhawks that much, but that was around the same time, towards the tail end of, I think due to the popularity of Thundercats, they were doing Silverhawks, right? Trying to use another animal or species of animal to... They ever come up with like Superfish? Ooh, it is kind of small. Yeah, I spent too much time on small details, and now you gotta basically just wasted the last 5 minutes. They had, I remember they had toys. I mean, cartoons back then were really, even now, like, except for my cartoon. But, you know, cartoons are more like commercials for toys, right? G.I. Joe, Transformers. They're basically half-hour commercials. And then the comic books, too. Comic books played a huge part in, I think, in G.I. Joe. And Transformers. I used to get the Transformers comic book as well. Really helped develop the back history of the the characters' motivations. So then when you're playing with the toys too, you're kind of going along with the storyline or modified storyline. I mean, I would always mix up my characters, when I'm playing, when I was a kid, because I'd have my G.I. Joes, along with my Star Wars figures. I had a couple Buck Rogers figures, because I had one of those Buck Rogers ships. I had Buck Rogers, I had Tweaky. Tweaky was like super hard to find, right? Like, I finally found him somewhere, I think in a Montgomery Ward. If you guys remember a Montgomery Ward, it's like a Sears. If you guys remember Sears, it's kind of like a J.C. Penney. If you remember J.C. Penney, it's kind of like a Macy's, or like a higher end Kmart or Walmart. Walmart, there you go. But like a little bit, a little bit more uppity. Or is that the right word for it? Montgomery Ward. Yeah, they used to have catalogs. Get these huge catalogs for a year. So anyways, I found a Tweaky one day. I believe in a Montgomery Ward. And I had one of those draconian bad guys with the helmet. The huge, like, Spaceballs kind of helmet. Buck Rogers. Man, I wish they would stream that again on one of these networks. Love that show. I really liked it when... Well, it was cool when they left Earth and they went on the USS Discovery. And wow, Colonel Deering was super hot. I would fathom to say I would say Colonel Deering was hotter than Linda Carter as Wonder Woman at the time. I was like 7 or 8, maybe 9, 8. So, anyways, I had that. What else? I had a lot of G.I. Joes. I had the F-15 G.I. Joe. F-15 G.I. Joe I always had an issue with because in order for the wings to expand out, the wheels would come out, the landing wheels, right? So the only way to fly it when you're flying is if it was in the wings were back in a V formation. So I always felt like, man, that's kind of like, or was it the opposite? Was it the opposite that? Anyways, one configuration or the other, the wheels had to come down, and because it was connected. So I was always not very, that was my one gripe. But the Stinger, the Cobra Stinger, the one that was like a tank, those are like awesome. And I had a Cobra, what are those called? Warthogs? Warthogs? The Cobra Jet that had the jet engines on the back, actually on the sides, and the wings would like flip perpendicular so it would take off vertically. That was awesome. I guess I would have to give her a Mandarin collar. This So yeah, I would have set up these battles, right, between the forces of good and the forces of evil. Uh, what else did I have? I had some Micronauts. Not many. I had like 2 or 3 Micronauts. Those were kind of cool because they're very. They could articulate them very well. What else? So I would take my bed, use the bed, the blanket. Blanket would create kind of like a rocky hillscape. Stinger opened up right in the middle. Maybe it wasn't the stinger. It was like the. I think this was kind of like what it looked like. Then it had a gun on top. This is the cockpit. Like this would open up, and then you can put a guy back here. And maybe the wheels were this way. I don't know. It's like a triangular. It looked kind of like the Imperial shuttle from Star Wars. I think I would also recognize the problem I have. I'm drawing like super long necks. Yeah, okay. I'm kind of cool with this. You guys can kind of hear the birds in the background. They're in the cage right now eating. Well, they just finished eating. So this is their poop time. Let them sit there, digest the food a little bit, poop it out. Sometimes they want to eat and then fly around. But no. His tank. I think. Cobra his tank. Alright, and let's see how her hair. Let me look at some more reference. See how some of these other people drew. Wonder Woman of China. She had like two long strands. Yeah, I mean. Not the most. It's very decorative, but really, if you think about it, if you're going to go into battle, you don't want these strands of hair. Right? I mean, guys tend to design these female characters, but not very practical for fighting. I mean, they look cool when you're drawing them, but it doesn't make any sense. These buns. I'll be letting the birds out shortly. But I will warn you today, I think there's very low chance that they're going to fly on my shoulders. Are you guys getting any more stuttering? I just noticed the flicker on the screen. See, some people have drawn like one big bun, but then she has like these two round things. Again, not a tremendous fan of that design, because it's just copying another one. All right. I'm gonna make it one big one because this is my stream. And I think it's very popular right now in terms of like noticed fashion-wise. I have these women that have these really thick eyebrows. Female characters. Alright. Yeah, new hair, just like one big bun. And then let me play with her. What is this thing? Tiara? No. Tiara sits like on top. Headband. Alright, let's try it. So, yeah, might have these make-believe battles. Like, somebody's jet. Oh, I also had a Y-wing. That was cool. I had a Y-wing. I was very fortunate. I had a lot of toys. Could only get a new toy if I had straight A's. So, I would accumulate. So I'd have like, maybe the starfighter would crash land on a mountainside, on top of the bed. Cobra would be coming from one side of the bed. The good guys, the G.I. Joes, good guys, along with like, I don't know, some other Star Wars figures or whatever would be coming from the ground, trying to climb up the mountain. Cobra and the bad guys, and then they'd eventually have a, firefight. Right now what I'm doing is I'm looking up Chinese female warrior online. See if there's any kind of like headband or headgear that, aside from the opera performers, maybe there's some kind of design that I could incorporate. Today's drawing session has now become more of a design session as well. Okay, interesting. Maybe try to give her some kind of a headpiece here. I'm going to steer away from the buns motif, the hair buns motif. There's this cool thing where there's like a little thing that comes up. then now I'm going to have this long hair thing that I just said that was not very practical. You know what I also used to do is when I go watch a movie during the summer, I believe I watched Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy, and watched that maybe like, I don't know, a dozen times in the theater. No, maybe not that much, because then it came out on cable, I think. So I caught it on cable a lot. I used to love Axel F. Dun, 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 dun. I used to be able to play that too. But like Return of the Jedi, when that came out, I was the visuals on, especially the final epic space battle, the Millennium Falcon charging towards the Death Star, and then all the all the TIE fighters were coming out. And so after watching the movie, I'd go home and draw my own battle sequences, aerial space fights, scenes that we did not see in the movie. So, like Red Leader would have his squadron, and I'd continue with my version of the Red Leader, or whatever squadron leader, and then draw that vantage point. So like the Millennium Falcon would be like in the background, because they're on one segment, right? And then, my squadron was fighting. And I think I might have modified some of the TIE fighters, so there were different variations. But that's what I used to do. Maybe I was 12, 13, 14, 12, 13, 6th grade, 5th grade. Yeah. Yes. 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 You hear the birds? And speaking of Cobra, she's going to have a snake on her. I don't draw a lot of snakes, so animals I am not great at. I don't want to spend too much time on this either. Looking at the clock, it's 10:40. I've already been streaming for half an hour, not including the other 10-15 minutes of like trial and error. Earlier with the whole flickering. Is it still flickering for you guys, or is this still just me? I'm just... I mean, I guess it's me, it's not you. That seems to be the theme of today's stream. Okay, alright. It's just me. I'll have to figure this out somehow. It wasn't doing it. All the other streams I had never saw the flicker, but I'm still drawing very lightly with the pencil. Still exploring somewhat, especially since this is a sketch/redesign. So as I'm going, like Kira don't want her mouth open now. She's like maybe pouting a little bit because she's like, I like my other outfit. Why did you change this? What other toys did you guys have when you were young that you think about now you wish you still had and that were not thrown out or donated or given away? I'll tell you one. Well, let's see. I still have some of the stuff. I have like a Robotech Alpha Fighter that transforms. I can't find my Scott Bernard figure that had the bike full size, like it was like this big, and the bike transformed into his suit. I think that might have been long gone. What else? Oh, had a Viper, Battlestar Galactica Viper from the original. It was a model that I put together. What if I gave her some like shoulder? Sometimes design is just drawing and seeing what looks good. You can do editing later. So, okay, thanks. Thanks, Crispy. Is that any tech stuff? So, like, if I'm at home and I'm like, my TV is not working, I can DM you and you'll help me. If I'm like, hey, I think that my toaster oven, I have a convention toaster oven, the fan is making a really loud noise. Can I DM you about that? George, I actually did that too. George destroyed all his vehicles with some M80s. One summer I had this was after Star Trek, which was the Star Trek? Star Trek 2. No, Star Trek 3. Star Trek 3 was the one with Christopher Lloyd as the Klingon, I think, right? And they're on the planet and the Klingon ship destroys, they sacrifice the Enterprise. Yeah, because then Star Trek 4 was them going back to Earth, get a couple humpback whales to save the future. The whole scale thing of the Klingon bird of prey, is that what it's called, bird of prey? That how you fit two humpback whales in the hull of a ship that looks like no bigger than a frigate. Anyways, yeah, I had a Star Trek. I was into making models. I built a lot of models when I was younger. Like aircraft carriers, cars, robots. But I had the Star Trek Enterprise model, and I had two of them. One was a toy, so I had very thick plastic, but it wasn't very detailed because the plastic was so thick. And then I had the other one that was a model that I built. That one you could see the ridges, the panels on the saucer section. Thank you, Crispy Eagle. I got you too, so you need anything, DM me. I'll try to help you out. Yeah, so I was caught up in that Star Trek, blowing up the Enterprise. So I wanted to like blow up my Enterprise model, and I had some fireworks, and I put it on the inside, and I put it inside of a box, like a parcel box, and I blew it up in my room. And my room smelled like firecrackers for a while. My mom was like, "Why does this stink in your room?" Like, I will maintain the circular motif as an ornament here. It didn't look as cool too when it got blown up. I tried burning it a little bit with matches, but then the fumes got too much, so I stopped. I think that was the time I was probably flirting with being a pyromaniac. I want to say like everybody, when they're young, plays with fire at some point. I would not advise anyone to do any of the stuff that I did. Hence the mature warning on the stream. But it's what I did. I'm thinking... What is her symbol? It's like a W with a stop sign. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm an only child, so I had to find a lot of ways to entertain myself when I was younger. I think that I was probably in junior high by that time. And it was probably during the summer. Although I grew up in Miami, it was hot year-round, so I just had this memory of it being hot. But that could be any time. Let's see, anything else in terms of sketching, design-wise? Maybe it would be kind of cool if this had a... I should look up a Google search for snake. Right? That would make sense. If I'm going to be drawing a snake. Was it a specific Crispy? Was it a specific snake that she had derived her powers from. Green snake, because her outfit was green. Is there a green snake that I always like designing stuff more than actually drawing it. Green snake, Chinese green snake. Is there a Chinese green snake mythology? Is there a specific snake associated with this? No, okay, this is kind of a cool image. Let's see here. Okay, all right. I don't think we need to be exact, but I'm envisioning this shoulder pad to be more ornate. And that the snakes are kind of looking forward as opposed to being on the side. Kind of like if she was standing, you would see the snakes looking at you like this. Like they're charging at you. As opposed to them looking sideways, like they're looking that way, they're looking right towards you. I think that's more menacing, right? Now she's ready for battle. Let me get this. And since the snake is a mythological creature, I guess I would have to. It'd be cool if I put scales on her. Let's see, 49 minutes, 50 minutes. It's time to let the birds out. Okay, come on, guys. Come here. Come here. Yeah. All right, they flew away. If any of you have pets, you'll know that that was a subdued baby talk voice. I talk to my pet birds in a baby voice. Snakes have noses, they have nostrils, right? Yeah, they do. Let's give her like a breastplate, like an armor. I'm kind of digging like this, just flaring away. Excuse me. All right. Thank you. It's already Thursday too. Can't believe that. Okay. All right. Let's try to wrap this up in 10 minutes. Let's go in there fully committed to this pose now. Right? We can figure out this. Yeah, there's another right here. 2 more like snake teeth. 2 more vipers. What a came out pretty cool, right? That was just a stroke of luck. Thinking, okay, this could be like, although she can't like squat down because then, but no squats. And is this just a regular WW? I guess I should know I've drawn her many times, but then I drew her without the WW, which is the newer version here. Come on. Let me find my cover to issue 24. Was that the last issue of New Superman? Okay. And what outfit does she have? Oh, it's cut off. I like this cover. Keenan's eyes are a little bit too big, though. A lot of times you go back and look at old work, and there's always very critical. By this point, he has the Superman shield as opposed to the 8-sided stop sign. So, okay, well, there's another version of the team when Keenan has that shield, and now she has just a W. So they've gotten rid of the... But I'm going to keep it. Let's keep it. All right. Let's wrap this up soon. And I'm getting hungry. I ate a grapefruit for breakfast today. I think there are 2. Okay. All right, let's go in there. Let's start darkening the lines, putting a little bit more pressure on the pencil. It's more like a battle armor version. Let me erase this. Oftentimes, if you're designing things, sometimes you're just drawing stuff, and then you eventually arrive at a design that you like, that you might think looks cool. Keep the octagon. Okay. All right, let's go back. I don't want to get too dark down here. Again, first, I want to draw up here more finish, because if the darker I get down here, my hand naturally is just going to go over the lead, and the whole piece is going to get smeared. So, a nice sharp point. A pencil. This is, I believe it's 2H lead. Might be H. So what else were we talking about? Childhood memories. Let's see, what else? I think when I was in elementary school, a lot of this started at a interest in sports. And so I would watch games on TV, and then I would go in my room and draw scenes from the game. Or like a fantasy game, like, two teams that might not compete against each other. And of course, my favorite team would always win. And then these drawings would also have like referees throwing penalty flags, players yelling at each other, or saying trash talk each other. And I found some of this stuff recently, and it's like, wow, some of the stuff I had the guys saying were very corny. But like what, a 8-year-old kid? So I would draw baseball, draw the Expos. I would draw basketball. Basketball, mostly Purdue basketball. So we grew, We lived in West Lafayette, so I was a big Purdue fan. And football, I would draw Purdue football, but also Steelers. Big fan of the Steelers back then. Terry Bradshaw, Steel Curtain, Franco Harris. You know, they had the best team back then too. So you could see them on TV, I think, a little bit more often. Indiana didn't have a closest one was the Bears. I like the Bears, but back then they weren't very good. And eventually they won the Super Bowl with Walter Payton, Refrigerator Perry, Jim McMahon. Is it Jim McMahon or McMahon? Mike? Something McMahon? But yeah, Steelers. My parents would give me these books that would talk about the Super Bowl, history of the Super Bowls. That would have pictures in it. Trading cards of the movies, yeah. Had trading cards. I had Rocky trading cards. So I had Rocky trading cards before I saw Rocky the movie. Which is wild, right? So I had Rocky 2 trading cards. I would flip through it. And then before I was even allowed to watch the movie. Black Hole, Disney, The Black Hole. I had those trading cards. I didn't really like The Black Hole that much. But looking back, like, that stuff was designed pretty well, I think, some of it. Yeah, but they would have trading cards of everything. And I got into, like, when I was in 5th grade, I had a buddy named Nero. Wonder what happened to Nero. Nero's family was snowbirds. By this time, my mother and I had moved down to Miami. We weren't living in Indiana anymore. Parents had gotten a divorce. It's very rare back then. And in Miami, you'd have friends that would come down from New York during the winter. But then once the spring semester came around, they'd go back to New York. So Nero and I would trade sports cards. He gave me like a whole box of cards one year, right before he left. That was very magnanimous, whatever. You guys know the word, right? So Nero, I wonder what happened to him. I think his last name began with a B. It's like Bonicelli or something. I don't remember. But he came down for like two or 3 years. And I never saw him again. So I hope he's okay. I guess I could look him up on social media, but then without knowing the last name, it's kind of hard. But maybe. If anyone knows a Nero, DM. E.T. and Gremlins. Yeah, Gremlins came out. I never really liked Gremlins that much. E.T. I liked. What year was this? Like mid 80s. I remember back then too, movies would be in theaters for, if not the entire, like Beverly Hills Cop was in theaters for almost an entire year, if I remember correctly. Nowadays, you'd be lucky if nowadays no one's going to theaters, but prior to the lockdown, you'd be lucky if the movie was in theaters for more than a week or two, couple weeks, 2-3 weeks. Otherwise, you'd have to go to the other theaters that are a little bit older to catch quote unquote new releases. Prior to the lockdown, I hardly ever got to see a movie in a theater. Most of the movies that I would watch would be on planes. And then sometimes I'd see it on a plane. Well, it would be available on a plane, but then I'd hold off from watching it because, like, Spider-Verse was on the plane, and I'm like, I think this is something I want to enjoy for the first time on a larger screen when I got home. So this is almost like inking. Yeah, so I'd go watch a movie. It's during the summer. There's no school. Walk home or walk to we had a Chinese restaurant. Walk to the restaurant in North Miami Beach. Or my mom would drop me off at the movie theater. Keep me busy for like 2 hours. Walk home. On the way home, I would stop by a comic book store, Starship Enterprise. Browse some comics. Then go to the Chinese restaurant, eat my lunch or dinner, hang out there. As I'm hanging out, I would draw these scenes from these movies. Sometimes on like the placemat paper. Hello, Mr. Ramlow. This is, I believe, a 2H or an H. Probably an H lead. I think this is an H lead. But I'm pushing down fairly hard now. Whereas before, trying to be very light. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Ramlow. Ramlow07. Well, it's dark also because I have the contrast on the camera switched up a little bit. I'm trying not to turn too many lights on the table. I have 2 large lights and a third light down here. It can get kind of hot. And then I have 2 table lights, but I turn one off, and I just have one on. And then on the camera, I punched up the contrast so you can see it looks a lot darker than it really is. Thanks for joining us today, Mr. Ramlow. How are things on your end? This is just a random warm-up sketch. It's already an hour 11 in. I need to wrap this up soon so I can get on some actual work. I'm going to be actually extremely busy the next few weeks. This is a modified version of Wonder Woman of China from New Superman. I used to do the variant covers for this series for DC Comics. New Superman was a story about a young kid who is injected or infused with the DNA of Superman. Or was it really Jonathan Kent? And thus giving him similar abilities to Superman or Jonathan Kent. Superboy. Mr. Ramlow, do you want your secret identity to be exposed? Or Ramlow, you want to remain Ramlow07? Up to you, no pressure. If you want to remain a secret, well, not secret, I guess, incognito. As I'm drawing right now, I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat for lunch or breakfast. Actually, well, no, I had a grapefruit for breakfast. I need to get back into my fighting shape. I'm thinking today I need to make an errand later to drop off the charity piece in Burbank. Mr. Ramlow and I go back a long time, yes. Fifth grade. Although we never met in fifth grade. We didn't meet until later in life. Fifth grade. Opalaka. I can tell this story without telling your name. So, fifth grade, I'm in an art program. And, yeah, it was like a gifted program, right? The audition to get in. I think it was once or twice a week, I don't remember. We got sent to this school, separate school, got bused to a separate school that would give us specialized training in arts and drawing. Mr. Ramlow went on a different day than me. I don't remember which day. I think it was once a week. I ended up only going to that program for, I think one semester. It was just a situation where I actually really enjoyed the program because the teacher was awesome. I think I remember had a crush on the teacher as well. And you know, you get to draw all day, and you get to do all these different kind of art related assignments, and you get to be around other artists as well, right? Other young artists. But the school itself was very different than my home school, and faced a lot of discrimination outside of the classroom. So much so that ended up lunchtime bringing my lunch. And I love school lunches. Even though everybody hated school lunches, I love school lunches because at home I would only be able to eat Chinese food. And at school, I get to eat like American food, like pizza, hamburgers, grilled cheese, sandwiches. That concept never, like my mother didn't understand a grilled cheese sandwich. But eventually, that first semester, I had to eat lunch in the classroom. Would not go to the lunchroom because it got so bad. Get into fights, arguments, and then the second semester did not return to the program. But anyways, there was an art contest that 5th grade from the city of Opelika. Thursday, yeah. So I think mine was like Tuesday, maybe. Tuesday or Wednesday. And city of Opelika had a art contest. I believe the school Rainbow Park was in Opelika. I mean, I don't know. I don't remember. And I entered it. I believe I entered it shortly after going to Epcot. We had gone to Epcot Center. I had some family that came into town, so it's the obligatory trip to Epcot, Disney World. And I always liked Epcot better than Disney World, actually. Because, Epcot was like the future. You got to see all this cool... They had the transportation pavilion. That was like awesome to me because you got to see all these new cars. Sloppy Joes, yes, Sloppy Joes. That was another thing that I could never eat at home. Could only get school lunch with sloppy and tater tots. Tater tots, like... I'm trying to remember other foods. I mean, the square slice pizza, I can still taste it right now. It was not the best pizza, but it was just, pizza. I mean, mind you, I love my mom's cooking. But just as a kid, being able to eat, the same foods as other kids. Plus, whenever I brought food, I would get ridiculed because it smelled weird or looked weird. Anyways, what was I saying? So Opelika had a contest, entered it. I drew the exterior of the Opelika City Hall police station / police station. It had a kind of an Arabian, um, like a Arabian design motif, and then for the police cars at Epcot they had those single. I remember they had those single bicycle pods, right? That look like an egg. You know, that this was going to be the vehicle of the future, something like this. And I drew that, a bunch of like, it's kind of like an axometric piece, and some of axometric, but also a perspective piece. But then the perspective lines were all off. So like, there were cars that were going this way, and I think I might have had there was like a futuristic truck that I had in there. And these are all shapes that were like kind of roundish, not very. Back then, cars were still very boxy and squarish. This was 1985? No, 1980, 1981, 82. 81, 82. So cars were very like boxy. And submitted it. And then like a couple weeks later, they had the contest results, and I got second place, and I was pissed. I was like, "Ooh, the F got first place." I mean, back then, you think you're looking at work, you think it's like amazing. Now I look at it as like, man, it's horrible. But for a fifth grader, it's not bad. But still, the perspective is all off. Obviously, the memory of it was much better than the actual drawing of it itself. So, always upset. I had a little trophy. I still have the trophy. It's like this big, a little, like a regular trophy with Opalaka. 5th grade, second place. Fast forward to high school. This was 5th grade. Fast forward to high school. I think my senior year. I'm in Mr. Ramlow's home for the first time. I'm in his bedroom. We're hanging out. And on his dresser, he has a dresser, and there are trophies on there. All these trophies. Oh, that was the night after I got drunk. First time I got drunk at, what's that guy's name? Steve Scully's house? Was it? I had to stay over because I was too drunk to go home. So I'm looking on the shelf with all the trophies, and then I'm like, hey, there's this one that looks just like the Opalaka 5th grade contest, but it's much bigger. It was like pretty big, right? I get closer. That's Opalaka 5th grade first place. I'm like, at least you kept it in the family. It wasn't some random kid. And, now Mr. Ramlow is a world-renowned artist. So, it's okay to come in second at times. If it's to Mr. Ramlow. If it was anyone else, I would still be like sour about it. But yeah, sometimes in life you meet people. This looks like that Space Ghost villain guy. Anyway, so that's my Mr. Ramlow story. But you never know. In life, sometimes There is you meet people, or you might not have met them yet, but eventually they go on to be one of your best friends. Yeah, so next time I'll stream, I'll bring it up. I think it's downstairs somewhere, or it could be in a box somewhere. If I find it, maybe I'll post it on my Instagram later today. It's a funny story. I'm pretty lucky, I think. Life has been pretty good. Been very fortunate. Come across some very, very cool people in my life. And always interesting stories to share. I'm still on the fence about this bun. But let's you don't know where it is. Come on, man. It's in a box. It's probably in a box somewhere. I'll see. I think I might have. I was cleaning out my mother's garage a couple years ago and I found it. I think I did I text you a picture of it? So while it was a very traumatic experience for me, Rainbow Park Elementary, made some life enduring memories. In high school, we entered another contest. What was the one? There was one that was the Antares furniture contest. That was a scam. That was like a total scam. Antares was like this supposed hip kind of furniture designer. Remember that? Antares, yeah. And then who won that? I think Dulce Barraga won that. Right? And I had like a futuristic sleep chair design. That was like 10th grade. But what was the other one that you guys sent? The fake congratulatory letter to me. That I was so excited when I got it. I ran out of class. In the middle of class. That was such a prank, an evil prank. But high school was cool. We played a lot of pranks on each other. We had all entered, the whole gang, the Louis Award, yes. But what was the Louis Award? Oh, Christina Crespo won it. I always thought Dulce Barraga won it. But the Louis Award was another contest. It was an art high school. We went to an art high school. This time it was a school, so you would go to the school every day. And it's called New World School of the Arts. New World School of the Arts in Miami. When we went, it was 10th, 11th, 12th grade. It was the first year of the school before they had a similar, well, they had a PAVAC, what they call a PAVAC program, Performing Arts, PAVAC. I don't know what the C stood for. But, oh, right. The Louis Award. Dean Simonek won the Louis Award, I think. Right? But, yeah, we had to all audition to get in. And I think we were actually at the same audition, or, so as junior high students, they announced this new program. They're going to start a magnet school program in Miami. The first one was this arts school, and it was fashioned after LaGuardia High School in New York City. LaGuardia being the art school, most famous for, well, it had a lot of famous alumni, but the TV show Fame, or movie and then TV show, was based off of LaGuardia. And so you had to audition to get in. Once you got in, everything was paid for, or everything was included free. You got your art supplies. Basically, you had 8 classes a day. All the students were being bused in from around the county, around Dade County, into downtown. We were sharing a campus. Well, we were using the campus of Miami-Dade Community College. You would have 8 classes. The first 4 of the day are your academics. And then your last 4 classes, 3 of them were your arts, with 1 more academic class, usually an elective of some sort. You can only major in 1. Although my senior year I majored in music and art. Yeah, and it's a performing arts, visual arts school. Oh, so it was between the 3 of us, and they hadn't announced who was going to win. Yeah, so I think it was like during math class, or I think it was like AP Calculus or something. And I want to say it was Arturo that came in, and he handed me a letter. It was like, hey man, this is for you. This came in the principal's office. And I opened it up. It had a Miami-Dade. These guys went to extreme lengths. A Miami-Dade letterhead, official Miami-Dade letterhead. And it said, congratulations, you've won the Louis Award. And I got up, I was like, yes! And I ran out of class. So, I was so excited. And I think I went to some, I went to the principal's office, or I went somewhere. And I was like, all right, where did I pick up the prize and all this stuff? And then they're like, what are you talking about? They haven't announced the winner yet. So eventually I caught on. I mean, I caught on later that day, but it was like, man. Hilarious thinking back about it. I mean, it was funny at the time too, but so cruel. So cruel. I mean, I would have done the same thing. Yeah, you're high school. I don't think I ever got back at anyone for that one. That one was an all-time. I did get back at some people, and another prank later in college. But this is a completely different group of people, so they didn't really deserve it. Well, they did, but it wasn't a revenge thing. Something completely different. That I'll save for the next time. Crispy, remind me to bring up the Pratt. Say it's a Pratt story. It happened in Pratt. That was hilarious too. This looks more like a panther than a snake. Some kind of cat. What do snake scales? Are they like fish scales? I mean, this was also before computers. I mean, there were computers. It was the all-in-one Mac Plus, but I think you guys must have cut up another piece of some kind of letterhead and then glued it and then Xeroxed it so that it looked like nose needs to be pointy. Snake. That's a good point. This one I gotta figure out. Yeah, so you guys must have like cut it up, Xeroxed it, and then typed it. It was like a typed letter. It wasn't handwritten. I mean, I appreciate the work, the effort that went in there. Yeah, our high school, it was new, so the teachers were all pretty cool. We got away with a lot of stuff because it was a new school. There were no there were rules, but it was like we were kind of making it up as we were going along. A lot of freedom. Yeah, so snakeheads don't have they just have a round thing, right? Looking at pictures of snakes. Maybe a little bit. All right. Here we go. Maybe I add a little green. Add a little green to her outfit. We have a watercolor set, courtesy of Janoff's Stationery in New York City. If you guys are watching this and you're in New York City, and you're looking to support mom and pop shop, but you need some art supplies, Janoff's on Broadway between 111th and 112th Streets on the east side of the block. Janoff's very, very kind to help supply me with a lot of the art supplies you guys have seen today on the stream. So if you're in New York, you need some art supplies, make sure to give them some support. Along with office supplies and art supplies. Very extensive selection of pens. And if you're there, tell my buddy Jerry hello. So let's see what else we can do with this. Almost done. 1 hour 40 minutes. Okay, so I think the breastplate, the armor, be probably a little bit darker. I'll go with a lighter version on the upper part. Very, very faint colors. I'm doing this on Bristol, so I don't want to get too saturated with the water, because then the paper is going to start warping. It is already warping. I can kind of see it bending. The good thing about LA is that the weather is so dry. The paper tends to maintain its form. I remember in Miami, or if I was drawing in Taiwan or any other kind of place that was fairly humid, the sweat from your hand would kind of warp the paper a little bit. But it's very dry in LA, so this is something that I don't have to battle with in my drawing. Let's go a little darker for the armor. Add a little blue. Give it kind of an aquamarine color. I don't know if you can tell the difference on screen. Just kind of lightly coloring this in. Usually I would, at a convention, I would use some of the leftover day's coffee towards the end of the day. Do a little wash. The coffee, give it kind of a sepia feel to it. Then maybe I'll go hit it with a little pro white after this. I don't know. What do you think? A little pro white. It'd be kind of cool to design this shoulder pad to make it look like it's three-dimensional, but this is all decorative. Right. And again, if the birds land on my shoulder, both birds land on either of my shoulders during stream, everybody that's on stream at that time will win a print. How exciting is that? Even you, Mr. Ramlo, and I'll sign it. I mean, a lot of people use Copics. I haven't gotten into Copics yet. I just want to hit it with a little color. Make it pop a little bit. She has dark lipstick. Black lipstick. Still haven't figured out how this headpiece fits or stays on her head. There's probably a couple bobbing pins underneath. Pins. The birds don't necessarily come when I call for them. They do occasionally, but they're not trained as well like that yet. If I yell long enough, they'll fly up. But it hasn't been proven scientifically that they're flying up because they recognize their names. They could just be flying up because they're bored, or I don't know, they want me to be quiet. Ooh. Very light. Sometimes when you're drawing, you're also mimicking the stroke. So as I'm trying to get very light, I'm also whispering. When I don't really need to be whispering, but just trying to be very gentle. Let me go back in there with a darker, let's try to hit some, get some definition. And it's Thursday already. Trying to hit it. A little bam, bam. Whatever happened to Emeril Lagasse? He was like one of the first, celebrity chefs. And you don't really hear from him these days. No, not yet. I have not told the story. That's a very sad story. I will wait until another stream. I gotta save up stories for other streams. Otherwise, if I spill all my beans, I'm not gonna have anything to talk about. But that is a good one. I will make a note. It's a very sad story. Very sad. Can I add any splatter to this, do you think? I don't know. A little Pro White splatter. Clean up the brush a little bit. There's a water reservoir, a tube of water in here. So that's why I'm not dipping this brush. There's water inside. You fill it up, you can take it out, right? Let me dry up the inside of this so it doesn't get moldy. Okay. I don't know. Crispy says add the splatter. What do you think, Mr. Ramlo? Mr. Ramlo is the expert here. I gotta defer. Splatter. Mask off the armor and splatter white on the armor. That is a great idea. Masking off is going to be too much work. If this was masking off is going to be too much work. But that is a good idea. Oh. Yeah, I've been using this. That's my Pro White. Pro White, if you're talking about it, this is only for use if you're a professional. Hence, Pro White. If you're not a professional, they might not even sell this to you. That's how serious this company takes their product. This is Wonder Woman of China. The birds are upstairs now. They're over here. Oh! There's one. Well, both of them have to be on at the same time. Did you guys see that? One flew on, but both have to be on at the same time. That's the rules. That's the rules. Now, I could get them on maybe a little bit faster if I started talking to them with my baby voice. For you guys, I closed the cage door, so might encourage them to come land on my shoulder. If I ignore them, though, I have a higher chance of landing on my shoulder. And they'll stand out because they're white, blue, and gray. The birds. So stop me if I'm doing too much on this. Oh, they just went downstairs. Nope, they're back. Sometimes they'll do a loop. They'll fly around and then back. Be very careful with this. Don't use this brush a lot, so I don't want to mess up. One bird's up here, the other bird's downstairs. Now they're both back. Nope. Consistency of the white, pro white also is based on how much water you add. Eventually it will dry up. It'll also blend in a little bit. I know, that's the thing, is like, get into it. Like I was saying, there's like no such thing as a warm-up sketch because this is already like pretty much like finished, right? I mean, honestly, like after these drawings, I feel like, hey, I've actually accomplished a lot today, and then in reality, I haven't done anything. But it gives you the false illusion of like, wow, I've actually done some work today. So thanks, Crispy Papa. Crispy egg roll. What did I say? Oh. Butthead's on the floor now. Just saw him out of the corner of my eye. Alright, splatter time. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh. He doesn't want to come up. Okay. do a splatter. What is the reasoning for the splatter on this piece? That she's fighting in the snow. One of the favorite issues of Alpha Flight was when Snowbird and was it Sasquatch or were fighting in the snow. I mean, there'd be literally just all white panels because their costumes were predominantly white. Later on, when I was drawing Dr. Mirage, there was an issue that I was falling a little bit behind, and Bob wrote the issue to take place at a ski resort in Aspen as to helping me catch up. That's what happens when you work, you know. He knows. Very helpful. Very thankful. Alright, let's do some splatter. I don't know if this is thick enough. It's maybe kind of runny. Of course, when it's wet, it looks thicker, but then when it dries, it's actually a lot lighter. Dig into this. Oh, someone's biting at my feet right now. It's kind of tickly. It's almost like those fish that you put your feet in, they eat the dead skin. So she's fighting in a snowstorm. Oop. Oop. Uh-oh. I should just leave that, right? It's gonna like drip. Alright, that's enough splatter. Mr. Joshua 4. Ooh, this is leaking on the side. Welcome to the stream. Thank you for the compliment. But thank you. Yes, actually, if you go back, I think the third episode of this season, third episode of the Cabin Fever 03, I did a little bit of work on that piece towards the end. So here we have today's sketch, 2 hours. All right. Usually spend 2.5 hours. Today I got done 2 hours. Thank you everyone for joining me today again. Try to again stream maybe a little bit more regularly. I don't know if I can do it tomorrow. Maybe. Who knows? We'll see how I am in the morning. Cabin Fever Edition. My name is Bernard Chang. Make sure you give a follow here. The Bernard Chang. On Twitch. Oh, here. Cover the mic. Also on Instagram. Same handle. Twitch. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Facebook, maybe not so much. Yeah, okay, no Facebook. Twitch, Instagram. Instagram's owned by Facebook. What can you do? Thank you again. Stay safe. Catch you next time. Thank you for joining. Oh. We want to give this away? do you think? I'm playing with my OBS here. Should we try to give this away? Let's see who's on stream right now. Okay, move this over. I guess I gotta go to Streamlabs. Let's see. Let's go to Streamlabs. I want to get rid of that page. I like that page. Okay, Streamlabs. Give me a second while the Streamlabs opens up. That way I can punch in everybody's name. So if you want to be included in this giveaway, please text something right now. And then we'll give this wheel a try. Should I do it on the first one, or do you guys want to do a practice wheel spin? Let me see if I can even do this. Spin wheel. Okay. It's pulling up. I should also put in my birds' names on here, because otherwise right now there's only 3 people. Mr. Ramlo, Crispy Egg Roll, and Mr. Joshua 4. Anybody else? Nobody else wants it? Come on. Okay. All right. Let's see. If I change this. Ramlo. Okay. Ramlo is white. Let's see, who else? Who else is on here? Crispy. Crispy, you're yellow. Of course. I'm assuming you're from the Asiatic. Mr. Joshua, you want a chance to win this? Okay. Let me add a category of okay, Beavis and Butthead. Those are my 2 birds. Let me change the color. You don't want it to land on the red. All right. Let me save this. Does that change the wheel? Okay. See that? Ramlo, Mr. Joshua, and Crispy. All right. How come Beavis and Butthead only has 1? All right, I'll give them 2. Everyone has 3. Well, I'll give them 2 ones. I have no idea what this category is. Bear with me again. This is the first time I'm doing this wheel thing. Anybody else? Last call. Last call. Should I put Dulce Barraga's name and Christina Crespo and Dean Simonek's name on here too? Maybe Dean will win again. I think Dean won that Mr. Louis Award thing, right? Remember the rumor was that Dean Simonek was uh, Julio Iglesias' daughter, had gone to our school for like a month. And the rumor was that she had the hots for Dean Simonek. And this was like in 10th grade or 11th grade for like a month. And then she transferred out, and no one else liked Dean. It's funny the things that you remember in high school. Sorry, Dean. Dino. Dino was a very handsome man, yes. So Julio Iglesias' daughter had the hots for Dean, but then she transferred out after a month. Them's the breaks. Okay, that's it. I guess let's see. Let's give this a spin. All right. I found the spin button. So you guys, one spin, or do we have a practice spin? It changed. Yeah, I added the two red ones you don't want to get. That's Beavis and Butthead. But they're so close to each other. Why? And then there's all these other categories, but like crispy, 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 crispy. So you got 5 crispies, right? 4, 5, 6. How come Mr. Joshua has 8? That's not fair. Alright, everybody has 6. Except for Beavis and Butthead. They got 1 each. And they're clumped together, so let me see if I can move one of these guys up around. Yes. Wow, this requires a lot of manual work. Well, I'm rooting for either Crispy or Mr. Joshua to win this. Mr. Ramlo, you can win too, but you know. Alright, let me save this. Save settings. Let's see the wheel now. Oh, okay. I think this is fair, right? You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of each. Is it still weighted towards green? I'm going to decrease the amount of Mr. Ramlos. How about that? Mr. Ramlo, you get 3. So, get rid of this Ramlo. Get rid of this Ramlo. And one more Ramlo. Let me save this. How is this now? Three. Mr. Ramlo has 3 chances. No, I'll make it 4. That way 6, right? All right. Okay. I'll put you back up. How do I add you back in there? Add section. Okay. Add section. Add section. Oh, and this is probability. So I can also increase the probability of spins. What? Interesting. I think normally you're supposed to put like a t-shirt or a print. That way. But now I gotta manually adjust. But right now I'm inputting everybody's name. Okay, let's go. Let's just save this. All right. Everybody's in agreement. Just one slice. I know you're mocking me right now. Just one slice. That's what I could do. I could use a slice right now. Actually, I ate an entire personal pizza yesterday, and that knocked me out. So nobody else. All right. So are we in agreement of one spin, or one practice spin, and then we do a final spin? I'm very indecisive today, so I'm leaving it up to you guys. Just spin it. Okay. Since you are the IT tech, IT specialist today, CIO, Chief IT Officer, I'm going to spin once. Let's see how this goes. There's a slight delay on the browser, but here we go. The winner is Crispy Egg Roll. Congratulations, Crispy. You're the winner. Look at that. Well, congratulations. Look at that. One more, you would have been Mr. Ramlo. Just missed Mr. Joshua. And almost Beavis. So, again, thank you. Crispy, you're on Instagram. If you can DM me your address, I'll get this out in the mail for you. Thank you for joining. Stay safe. Take care. And I'll catch you guys next time.